Thank you very much, Malik, for the toss and already making my point. I agree. This seems like this is going to be a second place match, what with South Korea kind of slingshotting their way into that first place spot. Russia can regain it if they have a strong victory here versus Finland, but from what we saw yesterday, Finland finally able to take a map away from the South Korean team for the first time in the history of the Overwatch World Cup.
Then they did too.
That might not be, yeah, and then they did it again, nearly got the victory as well. This might be a very close matchup. Finland are proving to be a very arduous opponent here. Russia, are they up to task?
And I believe in terms of the standings, the winner of this will actually jump up to second, at least for today, just based on those map differentials, right? So it's a really important match, as Malik mentioned. But yeah, is Russia up to the task is the big question everyone is asking right now. We know that Finland has a great tank line setup. We know that Fraggy is probably the best Reinhardt we've seen in the Incheon qualifier. So I feel very confident that Finland's going to come in here, run the same type of strategy that they ran against South Korea. You take a look at the Russia roster, you've got Tonic, right? He's the tank player that we're talking about in terms of Russia. How well will he match up against Fraggy? Because that's kind of been, again, the story of Finland in this tournament, is everyone playing around Fraggy as the backbone. So Tonic has big shoes to fill here in order to close that gap.
Yeah, it's kind of been live and die by Fraggy for Finland. More often, it's been a little bit more of the living side for them. The guy has been popping off here in this tournament so far, especially just yesterday versus South Korea. But it's also going to be a big DPS matchup between Shadowburn and Taimu, who is looking like he is back in form. Linkser as well, having wonderful performances. You know, we saw yesterday in that final game versus South Korea, you couldn't really pick out a single player who wasn't that impactful. Everybody, all 12 players throughout that series were absolutely phenomenal, and I think that we're going to see more of that here with this showdown. The true battle for second place, if not first place, if these guys can take down South Korea, if they can kind of knock them down a peg as we go forward, because we still have to see South Korea go up against Russia as well. If they can get a victory here, then take down South Korea, they're going to be the surefire squad moving out into BlizzCon as in that first place spot.
Exactly. Well, we're going to have an exciting matchup here as well with, Taimu very likely clashing up against Shadowburn.
Yep.
So that's also something I'm really looking forward to, how those two players kind of clash together, who comes up in that trade.
And I'm wondering if Taimu is going to try to go for the Pharah 1v1s. We know that Taimu's been picking that up a lot more. He's really been practicing the pick and improving on it, but Shadowburn is absolutely phenomenal with that Pharah. We have seen him constantly punishing the enemy with that pick, even just already, like a day and a half into the World Cup. We know it historically for him. So Taimu, will he try to just fall back, take the range fight as a Widowmaker, or will he get down and dirty with him, go up into the skies, and try to match him in the 1v1? I'm excited to see if that's how things are going to turn out.
Well, I guess we're going to take a look at the maps before we jump all into it. To start off, we're going to Control. Oasis will be our first map in this best of 4 series. You can call it a best of 5. It's a 4-set series. All maps will be played. And Oasis is a great map for hit scan, especially when you go to University. That's very likely we'll see the McCree clash come into play. So we've already seen Fraggy shut down so many Deadeyes with either, his barrier, his right click on the Reinhardt, and or with Winston bubbles. So in this case, as we will be starting on University, it's going to be about that Reinhardt. We'll see if Mistakes and Shadowburn, to bring in the old classic duo of McCree, Pharah on this map, can get it done. If Finland's composition starts to come online, if they can get control of the map, build those ultimates, it becomes very difficult for Russia to approach the point, even with, the Pharah that they are in fact running right now. So, when the Pharah, those take control though, however, it does kind of flip on its head. Finland tries to approach a Fraggy on the Reinhardt, Pharah has control, can shoot rockets over the shield.
Well, here we go, kicking things off on University, seems like. We're going to have Finland wrapping down below, try to get in around the point. Nice hook coming down, pulling Shadowburn immediately into the thick of the squad, and they will eliminate him. Now they can charge up onto the point. They have the inside track, and Russia has to be respectful. We'll go ahead and just kite away as the point unlocks.
Yeah, they're going to have this first control, and that's so important. They can use this choke point here to prevent the approach of Russia, and that makes the Pharah pick so much less impactful here. So you get Shadowburn just trying to get in. He does use his jump here to get onto the high skies to rain damage down onto Finland, but it's just not enough. There's so much sustainability, there's so much healing here. He can't get any picks. Meanwhile, Taimu looking for flanks in the back line.
Yeah, wrapping around, trying to find a lineup for that hook. Zappis gonna get taken out of the mech. Mistakes. We'll go ahead and pop him out. A couple more shots would get rid of this pilot form diva. Flashbang comes in, but the boop off the side comes down. Still manages to get the kill, but Big Goose shows up, shutting down that McCree, and Main falls at the same time. So Finland, despite losing one of their tanks, will be able to maintain control because they got 3 other ones, or at least 2.5, depending on which way you want to cut Taimu.
Yeah, and you can see how Mistakes was trying to turn this around by getting control of that high ground, knowing that Shadowburn wasn't able to do enough damage alone to get any single pick, any single kill. And he was able to get the DMAC there, but it's so predictable once you're there alone and the tank line is lost, you can't stay there for long.
Fire Strike coming out. Zarya Bubble going to help mitigate that one. Now tries to build up for that Graviton Surge. He's getting there very rapidly. Linkser trailing behind just a little bit, but Fraggy with his own Fire Strike. Gets that hit on a tonic, taking down the enemy Rhine. Not going to be able to get into a position to try to get that res off Fraggy. Coming up with another one. Takes him down, and Finland maintain control here. 65% moving upward as they just go ahead, get the cleanup kills, looking for the staggers.
And the killers, they have the big 6. They have all 6 ultimates available. Fraggy knew that as soon as there was the kill on Tonic, he got the kill, he could get a shatter no matter what. But Russia knew because of that they couldn't take the fight, so Fraggy carefully positioned himself to be prepared to shatter if Russia tried to collapse without Tonic, but they did not. So he gets to hold it. They have 6 ultimates now on the defense, and if they can trade up on that, looks like a win here on this map of University.
Yep, starting to push their way in. That's going to be the Earth Shatter out from Team Russia to start things off. Graviton Surge coming down. Mirage up above the defense pictures are there, and they're looking for the bomb. Drops it into the back. Shadowburn finds 3, gets taken down by the self-destruct, but it's going to be Russia very handily winning the fight. The res is available. They put the Pharah back into the mix, and they will find the flip, but it's at 99% Russia. They dump a plethora of ultimates to try to get that through. Finland, can they retake with just a shatter?
It was really well played by Shadowburn in that moment. They used a lot of ultimates, but he was able to come up big with the kills. That means that even though Finland traded back, they couldn't actually regain control of the point because they lost so many members in that moment. So Fraggy held his shatter. He was able to avoid the enemy shatter, so that's the only big tool they've got. He's going to have to utilize it well here.
All right, now swinging away. They're just looking to take down Tonic, but Mistakes from this side. He gets both supports. The Deadeye comes down. Shaz and Big Goose going into the grave, and that's just going to be Finland held off. They have a little bit of time. They can do these eco pushes to try to build up, but when you're trying to get a Graviton Surge in with not that much time, when you're the attacker, it's going to be that much more difficult to get the damage in as a Zarya, and you can see that reflected where Zhao, he's got 95% here on his Graviton Surge, whereas Linkser is only sitting at 32.
The defender's always going to have that advantage in terms of damage. Big Goose is doing his best to boost everyone in, but that's where Mistakes comes into play because he's got the high ground advantage, and when you run into the point with that speed boost, he's going to be doing all that extra damage.
Just go ahead and maybe pin that into the wall, but he does allow Finland to push forward. Going to be tossing it down straight into the faces in time. Who's the first one to die now? Linkser falling as well. And as Russia maintains control, 62%, they keep inching forward. Finland trying to build up, but Linkser only gets 10% on that push.
Yeah, not a whole lot, you know. A lot of this is coming from the damage of Shadowburn and Mistakes. The damage comes in from 2 different directions, 2 different angles, and Finland has no range damage to speak of, so they have to win the tank war with their ultimates, and building that ultimate for Linkser is so critical. He just hasn't been able to do it, unfortunately. Positional advantage so important on University. As you can see here, look at how much free damage Shadowburn can do. Uncontested, no range damage to knock him out of the sky. He's only limited by his fuel.
Not gonna have it. Yeah, that's gonna be the Deadeye coming out. Mistakes finds Big Goose again, and now Taimu be the first one to fall. Fraggy down in the pit will get eliminated. It's 95% here. Seems like Russia should be able to close this one out. Fraggy's been holding this Earth Shatter for so damn long, but might not get the opportunity to use it at all. Shadowburn just gonna pop that Mirage after taking down Shaz. Gets rid of the Zarya. Zampus out of the mech. And this should pretty much be the cleanup here as they look to take the first round on Oasis. University going the way of Russia. A couple little delays coming through. Any sort of flip here for Finland would be absolutely huge. Shatter comes down, manages to find Mistakes, but Fraggy's cut around the backhand side and will get eliminated here by Tonic. We keep rolling down. Linkser swaps over onto that Hammond, but instantly gets shredded down, and the OT bar will just plummet faster and faster. Mistakes, it's tea time.
It's tea time. Well, you know, Achilles, the difference in these compositions, I think a lot of people look at this and it feels like we're in a Reinhardt Zarya dominated meta overall, and that's true, but the differences between these 2 comps is sustainability and more tankiness, something that's strong turtle style that Finland's been running all of this qualifier is what they tried to approach the point with consistently there. But when they didn't have control, there was too much damage coming out in the crossfire between the McCree and the Pharah on both sides. And you're running a comp that doesn't have that much damage. If you could trade up on ultimates after they get the flip, then when you come in, you can crush their tanks with your ultimates. Then the Pharah and McCree are just going to get cleaned up. Yeah. But like you pointed out very astutely several times, Linkser just could not build that charge. They couldn't trade up on ultimates, so Mistakes and Shadowburn had free reign.
we are on the push as we shift over to City Center. Russia going to be looking to close things out 2-0 here on Oasis. To kick off with that map win. Tonic playing up forward, takes a bit of damage as Main going to be trying to heal him up with the Orb of Harmony very slowly. Aggressive push forward here from Fraggy. And Main's gonna get taken down. Linkster with the Soldier 76 man just to find that first kill. Shadowburn gets Big Goose, but gets taken down by Shaz, and now Taimu traded out. Gonna be a 2-for-2 across the board. The D.Va gonna be dead here. Finland finishes him off, and they look for that first cap. Push back around the side. Links are going low, but has a biofield. Gets a shot in, taking down the Mercy. Tonic jumps through, but they're just gonna get picked off. So Finland again gaining control over the point to start things off. But can they hold it?
Notice that how much damage Linkster's been able to do in these fights. He's positioned well, he has self-sustain, he has, with essentially triple support here, right, with Taimu on this Brigitte, so many ways to stay alive. It's so difficult to kill him. Now he's on the high ground. Russia's going to be making a composition swap to try to get on top of him, but what Soldier 76 does so well is survive. Even with dive coming through from Tonic, Shadowburn, and mistakes, he should be able to live through so much that sometimes the counterattack from Finland can be devastating.
But if you can get that pulse bomb, if you dedicate it
to
Linkster, you take him out of the fight suddenly. That attack visor is now irrelevant. Primal Rage going to be popped by Fraggy, but he's immediately kiting away. Have to show respect to the Discord Orbs coming back. Will rejoin in the front, but Zappis is going to get knocked out of his mech. So a rough start. That's Fraggy getting shredded down. We'll get pocketed back up as they try to heal him up. It's going to be the Transcendence popped by Shaz to keep him in the fight. Attack visor out from Linkster, looking for a target. Self-destruct going to come up, and now he's got to kite back. So not getting a lot of value out of the ultimate. Shadowburn comes up with the kill, getting rid of that Soldier 76 pulse bomb in. Mistakes find Shaz. This is going to be Russia looking to get a flip much faster this time around. Took them 99% to get it on University, but now they're going to find it just around 60, it would seem, as they go ahead and try to finish off the remaining members of Finland. Zappis here in the mech going to get popped out again. Has that self-destruct, but wants to hold it. Knows that he is going to need that for the retake.
I mean, Shadowburn and Mistakes were able to do enough damage there to the backline, force Linkster back, prevent him from getting value out of the attack visor, and then clean up house right afterwards. The pulse bomb onto Shaz was super critical because that meant that the fight was essentially won. They could clean up. Shadowburn can now hold a Dragon Blade here on the defense, which is so critical. Taimu's gonna, of course, toss out this rally to make sure that Dragon Blade is a little bit tougher to execute. He's going to be the target for Shadowburn here, though. If he lives and stuns Shadowburn, it's not going to be as effective.
Both blades coming down. He drops down right in front of Taimu, and he gets sliced to pieces, but Zappis moves forward, shuts down the rest of that ultimate. So not going to be finding any additional kills, but now the rest is going to be there. Shaz taking down Tonic. Russia loses one of their tanks. Mistakes pushing forward. Has to kite back. Away from the explosion. As Zappis makes his way back into the mech, he chases in, looking for the pulse bomb. Stick finds it there. Onto Fraggy. He survives for a little bit longer, but the pulse pistols, even at that range, are more than enough to go ahead and finish off the Winston. Zappis is going to retreat, taking himself back out to safety as Shadowburn plays forward, just looking to get some additional percentage for that next blade. But Russia holding here, now at 50%.
Yeah, and they're just doing a great job of dealing with what Finland is trying to approach with, and as long as you are very aware in Shadowburn's case here of where Taimu is, how to burst him down, and how to avoid getting stunned, you can do so much with these Dragon Blades. You can also build these Dragon Blades so quickly.
Fraggy going low, has to pop the Primal Range, the pressure coming out. Russia looking to suffocate the squad here as they take the lead. Finland desperately wanting this cap. Fraggy falling low. Transcendence is available from Shaz, but would probably love to hold that for Shadowburn's next blade, which he is going to have very shortly. Up onto the high ground, Fraggy keeps himself alive, looking for an opportunity to drop back down. Rejoins in with a fight. Shadowburn falls low, but they can't kill him off. And now it's going to be Tonic with his own Primal Rage going up into their faces. In the back now, Shadowburn has the blade ready to go, and Shaz just gets taken down. Tonic joins in. They managed to finish him off. They trade out for the Genji, but now no Zenyatta in the mix, and Finland still have not been able to flip this point. It's 92% moving up. Russia gonna go ahead and close out on Oasis. Mistakes will die. They have a corner here onto the D.Va, trying to knock him out of the mech. Tonic goes low. Finland desperately trying to get this flip. Hoop back comes in from Big Goose, just building up closer and closer to that sound barrier. 15 some odd % left to go. They'll have it online. They might just need it, but if Fraggy is going to die, and they don't have a res to put him back into the mix.
Finland has just got so much sustainability with its triple support. It's also Moira, so when Shadowburn's dead, when they don't have the burst from the pulse you mentioned earlier and the Dragon Blade, they will win the longer fight. That means Russia has 99% when they do win it, but now it's very difficult to break through for Russia. They don't have a Dragon Blade. Mistakes already used his pulse bomb, so how do you kill through Moira doing so much sustain, left click healing, Big Goose, AoE heal, and the burst coming through from Taimu. Oh, close call on that one.
He tries to go for the Hail Mary, but probably should have just held it to try to bust out the mech or the Winston here. Transcendence going to be popped by Main as Russia pushes in onto the point. And Taimu will fall. Fraggy goes down before he can use a Primal Range, and again, there is no Mercy player here on the side of Finland. They are not running that in this comp, so there's no way to put the Winston back in the fight. They have to wait for him to rejoin. Napis now, self-destruct going to be online. Linkster goes back with a recall to try to keep himself alive, and in the fight, Construct comes in, Zap is not finding a pick, Shaz falling low. Zappos makes it back, Shadowburn nearly has the barrage, up close and personal here with Linkster Mistakes, finds the hit. Pop Zappos out, they take him down as Russia tries to get this flip coming through. They're about to have it. Finland tags in to delay this for 99.99, but they go up onto the high ground. They don't come back down in time. Now OT taken away on both sides. This is any person's game here. Finland have to stay in the mix, but Fraggy is dangerously low, even with that Bramble range is going to expire now. Taimu coming back into the fight as quickly as he can. Big Goose under duress, trying to kite his way out of there. He's got so many members of Russia just sticking to him like glue, so they will be able to take him down. Shaz is still low, can't really heal himself up, and Zamora has to be reliant on the orb. Linkster trades one back, finds Shadowburn. Pulse Bomb now out from Mistakes, tosses that one down. It's going to be Zappos out of the mech. Fraggy is dead, and this should just about be the win here. Russia grinding away at Finland, ought to be able to come out on top. Taimu desperately tries to pop the rally, but to no avail. Russia will take the first map here in the series.
And this is already, I think, such a big turn away from what we expected to see in this series is, can Russia challenge Fraggy? Can they win the tank war? But instead of that, we saw the DPS players really be the big players on the side of Russia. Shadowburn and Mistakes on the Genji, the Pharah, in Shadowburn's case, and of course for Mistakes on the McCree, especially there on University. They were able to circumvent the slower, more sustained style that Finland has been running all week long. And when you can get those kills with the DPSs at range on University, and then when you can get the burst to break through the healing of the triple support composition we were just seeing from Finland, then you set up at a positional advantage, you trade up on ultimates, and it becomes so difficult for Fraggy, who's especially there on City Center playing Winston, not the classic Reinhardt that he's most known for in in recent times. Not to say that he's a bad Winston player by any means. He's playing not to the style they've been playing and having success with all tournament. And how Russia was able to plan and force that situation where they pushed Finland away from their comfort zone was really fun to watch.
Yeah, and I kind of have to wonder how things might have transpired a little bit differently, if it would have been different at all. Had he not jumped up onto the high ground and was still contesting that flip coming through from Russia, because then the pressure's on, it shifts back over into Russia's hands. It's 99 to 99%. Now you're trying to scrape it back rather than defend. Could have been a different story. Maybe we would have been going to Garden to try to finish off Oasis here, but instead it's going to be Russia picking up that first map win. So map selection here for Finland as we get ready to go into Hybrid. They've been running this very tank-heavy style.
Yeah.
So it seems like we might just have some more King's Row.
It feels that way. I mean, that's where you definitely want to go if you want to play towards the strengths of the Reinhardt Zarya. And as we have map selection up here, it is going to be King's Row. I mean, when you think about Reinhardt Zarya and the meta throughout years of Overwatch now, I mean, basically 2 years now in. And we had the 2016, 2017 World Cup, now we're in 2018.
Yeah.
To mention all of the Overwatch League, Apex history. When you think about Reinhardt Zarya, historically speaking, in Hybrid, you always think about King's Row. Every other map is much more wide open in this map type, so it's much more difficult to get Earth Shatters off, use Zarya, grab surges to set up these combos and fights. So if you're a team like Finland has been operating around these two tanks in particular, as you can see Fraggy and Zappies already have it locked in here on the attack in spawning room. When you're playing that way and you're struggling when you're forced by, in this case, Russia, to play something else, or as we saw from South Korea yesterday, you're forced to do something else, you're not finding as much success, why not just pick the map that you feel comfortable with? And that's where we go to King's Row. We saw the Rialto pick yesterday for very similar reasons against South Korea.
Well, Finland will be kicking things off here, choosing to actually go, we'll be on the defense first here.
Yeah.
So attack first from Russia.
That's right. So setting up here right now with this Reinhardt Zarya, but with the double sniper setup, not going to be any sort of Roadhog setup that we have seen from Taimu, particularly in situations like this. Taimu found great success on this map yesterday through the defending part of B and C on the streets phase because he was protected so well and was able to get so many good headshots off. Which caused a lot of problems for South Korea, Carpe in particular. Russia will match him with double sniper for the moment. Let's see how long they want to run that. This getting a line of sight is going to be tough.
He on the Hanzo. Let's see how they're going to fare with this one. He's going to be matching them across the board. Right up onto the top of the Alderworth. Gets the spot out with the Sonic Arrow. So he's going to be dashing back, keeping himself safe. Tonic's been tagged up quite a bit here as they play forward. He's just going to get taken down. Drops the shield for a second. Linkser has the hit. So now no Reinhardt, no forward push. Russia getting picked off.
And this is a big problem when you're running mirror compositions like this, is when the defender who already has a positional advantage then has the ult advantage on top of that. You know, if you compare the damage done by Linkser versus Shadowburn, he's going to have the first Dragon Strike, which can be stacked up with the ultimates that Finland is building, with a slight advantage there, not as much so, because they weren't the ones doing the damage in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, it's actually pretty similar. Linkser is searching forward, but it's the supports really that's the big story here for Finland. If Russia can eliminate them, either Shez or Big Goose, that could be a really nice way to go ahead and break open this point. Storm Arrow's coming out, Linkser falling low.
This is
trying to get the
risky.
shots in there onto Tonic as he had fallen quite low, but can't finish him off. Now bouncing around. Looking for the hit on a Shadowburn, but not going to find the execution. Dragon Strike going to be set from both of these Hanzos. And then we have the Transcendence online from Shaz. As both Mercies go up to the Valkyrie. Storm Arrow's out. Shadowburn finds the hit. Taking him down, breaking things open. Start pushing forward. Transcendence already coming out from Shaz. Shadowburn just holding onto the Dragon Strike. Now he can use it. They don't have that ultimate. Graviton Surge comes down. Shadowburn tosses that up. It's going to be Fraggy and Zappis both going down. Rez in, bringing the Zarya back into the mix. Russia going to be operating as a 6-man unit. Finland suffering heavy losses, and just like that, the point will go their way.
It's just so unfortunate for Finland. They lose this point. Look at the ultimates they're holding. Linkser had Dragon Strike in the bag. He was going to have it first, but he died trying to challenge Shadowburn in a duel that most, I think, would argue was unnecessary. He took a risk, it did not pay off. Everyone collapsed after that. Shao gets the faster surge. And sure, they can use these ults they now hold to try to defend with this archway, which is a very strong defensive position. But I think they would have liked to take a fight on the point, but it was just no longer possible after that pick onto Linkser.
Yeah, try to drain it down. Now it's 4:13 on the clock for this push. Russia also have ultimates as well. They're going to go ahead and throw up the Infra Sight. Graviton Surge coming down. Zappis tosses that one in. It's going to be the Dragon Strike answering. Main channeling with that Transcendence, trying to keep them alive, but it's not going to be enough. 3 members will go down, and Finland can gain control over the cart. Shadowburn just going to get caught out here.
And
So
now
we'll see how far forward they want to play. They play very far forward versus South Korea on Rialto. Will we see that here on Kings Row?
I don't think so. I think they're just going to try to play around this archway further. The cart has rolled back significantly, and Fraggy can just stand in this archway now and prepare for a big Earth Shatter. The onus really is going to be on to Tonic to prevent that, because no one else really can shut that down in this moment. Mistakes, of course, on the Brigida now making that swap. He could certainly make an effort to prevent it, but it's going to be mostly on the shoulders of Tonic here. If Fraggy gets the big shatter, they get another defense.
Fire Strike coming down, bubbles up from the Zaryas, barriers in, tries to answer back, but not going to get anything. Fraggy still charges in, manages to take down the enemy Zarya. Fire Strike comes out, getting a smattering of damage in. Finland will be able to hold this one, it would seem. So, rough start from both of those Earth Shatters, but Finland are the ones who are able to pick up the pieces.
Something I really love about how Fraggy uses the charge for Reinhardt is that he almost plays, hold that thought, we're going to have another duel here.
I'm just going to let this one speak for itself.
Okay. Shadowburn does get taken out this time, so
Shot
Linkser
him in
gets
the butt.
revenge. But Fraggy's charges, he almost like uses game theory. He always knows that if he misses his primary target, he gets scoot over to at least do a little bit of damage. In this case, he got Shao. That's an incredible Reinhardt player. It's so enjoyable to watch. But that stagger there onto Shadowburn is painful. Linkser has high ground control right now. And Fraggy, you know, is just still operating around this high ground. Mistakes can try to stun him to get around the corner, but this is exactly ideal for Finland. It's just slight ult advantage, archway defensive setup. You've got this Dragon Strike, and Linkser going to toss it out as soon as he's got a great opportunity. Tough to split when you're in an archway.
Storm Arrow's coming down, Taimu gonna find Shout. Gets rid of him, and now no grab gonna be available from Russia as Taimu also gets rid of the Mercy. No res, and nothing. Finland maintaining control. This has been a wonderful hold so far already. Over 2 minutes drained off of the time bank.
Yeah.
Russia really started struggling to get things moving.
Now they've got the ultimates too. They re-got the Earth Shatter. They have another one of these big grab surges. The only way you can really challenge Taimu in the backline and Linkser is to go up onto the high ground yourself, where Shadowburn has been trying to go. But because Finland know that, they're just waiting for him. They're kind of camping for him. And now Linkser's got a really nice flank.
Shot there on the main, taking him low. Dragon Strike getting ready to come out. Grab over onto the side. Gonna be finding the hits. Linkser manages to take down Shadowburn in the end, but it's gonna be 4 kills going over to the way of Russia as they finally get this cart rolling. Finland will still have an opportunity to fight this one out, to stop them before they can make it to B.
Really nice punish there of Linkser's positioning by Russia. Again, they're going to go ahead and toss this rally out to gain some armor. Mistakes can build that very quickly. Because Linkster was looking for the pick onto main so that the grab would not have a counter, they just collapsed in while he was out of position. Really nice, swift movement here for Russia. But now they've got a nice free push. Finland's got the ultimates, but they need to get to this point and set up to use them.
Well, grab coming down. It's going to lock up two. Dragon Strike rolling through. It's going to pop that Transcendence, but still going to be Zhao going down. And Big Goose gets traded out. Now Tonic finds Fraggy, not giving him an opportunity to use that Earth Shatter. Cart still pushing forward. No one really here to try to contest this one. It's just going to roll very gently into the station. Now it's going to be another 2:20 on the clock here for Russia to try to get the finish on King's Row.
A really nice fight here taken defensively against what was somewhat of a sloppy engage from Finland as they rushed back towards the point. Didn't have a Lucio to set up that engage. They're just not running that composition. Shaz has been primarily on the Zenyatta here, so you just don't have that extra movement to get onto the point and look for a clean engage. They had to take a rough one. They lost their ults. It's pretty rough now on the side of Finland.
Pushing forward, almost take down main, but they can't quite find him. Shadowburn, however, will win out that Hanzo duel, and now Fraggy is going to get punished. Again, it's not finding a chance to use this Earth Shatter. Good punish game here for Russia as they keep charging forward. A minute and a half on the finish would still look pretty darn good for them considering how that defense was looking for Finland.
He's got total high ground control right now. He's got full line of sight. There's no way Finland can approach without taking damage.
Things get snagged up. He's looking for the shot there on the Big Goose. Sorry, a bubble denies a lot of that damage away. Fraggy again pushing forward, drops down the hammer, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be too much follow-up. Fraggy will get res back in. Mistakes, finds Big Goose as he gets the res. Dragon Strike rolling in from the side, but otherwise not going to be that impactful. Finland is able to polish up onto the cart here with the Reinhardt, but the Graviton Surge is going to be tossed in. Fraggy going to be isolated, will be eliminated. Cart halted as Shaz tries to charge in, but he doesn't have a Transcendence. He doesn't have anything, and Big Goose is just going to get a hammer to the face. He goes down. And this should about be the finish here for the side of Russia. Zappos can't get there in time. They get the completion, not with as much time in the bank as they would have liked, but they still pushed it all the way to C.
And it's been a really clean series from Russia thus far. I feel like even when they're in the face of adversity in terms of positioning, they're able to make really clean calls when we see small changes. Again, going back to Linkster's flank, Linkster makes an intelligent flank to try to get the kill there onto main, the Zenyatta player for Russia, so they can set up for that grab engage in the choke point. Because when you have that ult advantage, you want to use it to its best ability, right? You want to have those combos, and you want to make sure there's no Transcendence to just counter it on the other side. So they got a little bit greedy, sending Linkster over to the side, having him try to flank and kill that Zenyatta. It was greed that ended up killing him twice. The first time cost them point A when he was trying to 1v1 against mistakes. The second time there, of course, it was an intelligent decision. But while in his absence, Russia collapsed. And so it's really cool to see Russia making these snap decisions when Finland is taking risks. Very punish-based style that we saw through A. When we headed towards C, for example, that's when Russia just started to snowball things out of control.
I think the thing that I want to see a little bit more from Finland coming in on this attack is a slight bit more of restraint. They have been using these ultimates, maybe not at the most ideal time. That one of the last Graviton Surges that we saw thrown out there from Zappos as they try to retake B didn't really have that big impact that they wanted. They managed to catch two. The Dragon Strike comes through, but they still can't really get the kills to follow up, and the rest of Russia just swoops in from the flank and takes them down. So I think that they need to play a little bit more measured here as they get ready to go on this approach. Make sure that they're really kind of running the numbers in their head as far as how these fights are going to go when they invest their ultimates. So we'll see if they're going to have that, or if it's still going to be a little trigger happy from them. As we go ahead and kick things off yet again. This time Finland on the attack on King's Row. 56 seconds, the time to beat for them.
They have to deal with the Junkrat Orisa setup here, and they are going to run again towards their strengths. They're running the Goats composition here, breaking it through to where Tonic is going to require really well-timed speed boost here from Big Goose. They're going to want to charge around the left side. Here comes barriers up. And if they can get up on top of that point, they can dismantle this composition. Zappos is going to try to gain some additional information up here as they do get around the left side. Now they're going to head up here. If they can force Orisa off the high ground, then everything can collapse in just a second for Russia.
Well, already, they know exactly what the play is going to be. They cut their way out. Now they're wrapped around the backhand side, and they are isolated. Main going to get taken down. That's mistakes as well falling. Finland. Nice little rotation coming through. Now they can push their way onto the point. And again, it's come down here, Orisa. We want you on the low ground. Will Tonic rise to the challenge? So far, one tick coming through, getting closer to two. It's going to be Zhao moving down, but the back just gets shredded out. Pocket coming through, trying to keep that Baby Diva alive, but it's not going to be enough, and now it's going to be the Mercy joining the Baby Diva in the grave. They get Tonic, and this is just going to be the point going the way of Finland. Fantastic push coming through. Russia says, okay, we know exactly where they're going, but Zenyatta and the Widowmaker, they completely cut off from the rest of the squad. They get punished, and this opens things up very nicely.
And there's
5:10 in the clock.
There's just no way you can recover from that moment once you get circumvented like that, and especially when you're not running a Roadhog, which we've seen a lot in Korea and Korea contenders, particularly in this meta. We don't have that Roadhog. You don't really have any sort of way to peel or disrupt that movement around. So just really clean execution here from Finland, and Russia, of course, will suffer. The Riptire's almost ready, but that's one of the key parts of the defense is having that before the A take even happens, so you can buy time. You can at least buy some time on the streets phase with it here as it comes out.
Here from Shadowburn. See if he can land anything. Pushes it up into the high ground, tries to wrap around the sides. Taking 20 damage so far. They're trying to focus this one down, but it still will have the pop there on the Linkser, eliminating the Zarya. Finland is playing back, so this isn't going to be the most costly thing.
Yeah, I mean, just taking the slow approach here. It will start to become costly, however, if they are unable to, regain control of this cart and they start losing too much time because of the time bank that Russia has built. You see them moving forward now. They're going to look for an engage. They do not have grabs, so it's going to be about the Shatter
pushing
boost.
Forward. Shatter going to be ready to go, holding this one Tonic. Barrier back up. Fraggy shoving him back, allowing the cart to start moving up around the corner. Then they can really take the fight. Fraggy falls low. They will keep him topped up. The rally set here from Taimo. Who's going to pop it as the Dragon Strike rolls through. Keep themselves safe. But Big Goose still going to go down. Shadowburn able to find that hit. Zap is charging forward, gets popped out of the mech. Fraggy also falling low. Used that Shatter, gets the pin there, takes down Zhao. Finland still going to be halted as Russia gains control of the cart.
It's just really unfortunate they had to use so many resources in order to do so, especially right before this grab came online. They're going to look for the fight for it now. It's a good angle.
Forward. Yeah, grab is ready to go, but he holds it. That's the restraint. Doesn't see the opportunity, and they don't need it. So this is perfect here for Finland. Now they have that big ultimate that they can use. Maintain control, try to go for something like a bigger bang because Zappos is holding onto that self-destruct.
Russia had to play so well around the potential grab, and then they all lined up for Shaz to do massive damage with the Coalescence. The angle there for the Coalescence, we don't normally talk about the Coalescence being a huge damage dealer in fights, but it actually did so much for them there and allowed them to get in position with Big Goose's speed boost. Now they hold the grab, as you say, with that restraint from Linkser. One of the most important things for a Zarya player. He's gonna drop it now.
Yeah, grab, tossing that one straight in front of point B. They lock up the tanks again. The bubble's coming down, pin into the side, trying to eliminate Tonic. Not gonna find it yet. Fraggy just gonna be dropping the hammer, throws in that Earth Shatter, but Tonic is still gonna be alive. They're swinging back and forth. Who come out on top? Still going. But finally, it will be Tonic falling, but Finland still suffer losses. Now Fraggy going down, 4 members dead all in all. Linkser getting ready to join him here at the end. The Storm Arrows from mistakes takes him out.
But
Finland,
Yeah, but the grab here at Killers, the grab gets them off the point to get the capture.
Yes.
So that's the big win. They get the new spawn room unlocked. They have the approach here now. So even though a lot of ultimates were used and they didn't win the fight per se, they got the objective. And that's all that matters at the end of the day for this time bank.
Yeah, for the follow-up fight, eyes a little bit bigger than their stomach, but it was still a good play all in all. Shadowburn running out another Rip Tire, pushing this one forward. We'll find Taimu, pops him down. He's playing quite far forward, so
I could really respect.
expected.
Yeah, I could really respect how quickly Shadowburn's building these. Why he's using them so liberally, because it doesn't. It's one of those ults that you just know you're going to have in just a second, as long as you're doing consistent damage, which Shadowburn has been. In fact, he's just going to swap over to the Widow. Another reason to just toss that ultimate out, buy some time. You're trying to burn 2 more minutes off the clock, and that's one way to take a few seconds away.
So dangerously close here, Fraggy. One more swing. That's going to be the Earth Shatter coming down on top of that Dragon Strike. Tonic gets Fraggy from the side, taking him down with a pin. Tank line going to be disrupted. Taimu, Linkser, everybody pretty much that they can find going to get punished. Finland now have to push back through into the foundry to try to get on top of this cart and get it rolling. They have a very healthy time bank compared to what Russia finished with, but they still have to go the distance. They have to get the completion, and they would love to do so while besting the time that Russia established. 56 seconds, not going to be a whole lot.
The Shao grab surge is going to be a huge factor coming up here as we see Shadowburn just getting an angle, but this is going to be what they want to use on this corner here, very likely to set up the fight. Fraggy's already very low, so this could be the moment.
Yeah, Jazz is going to be dead. Shatter coming out. Fraggy doesn't seem like he's going to find anything. Tosses that one straight into the barrier. Tonic had it ready to go. Pin comes down, but Main is there. Has the Transcendence. It's just keeping everybody topped up. And Zhao can just hold on to this Graviton Surge the entire time as they burn down the remaining members of Finland that are still inside the foundry. They get Linkser. Taimu answers one back, but otherwise, not a whole lot going on for Finland on this attack into point C.
Shao had an opportunity to use the grab, but it's that patience we were already talking about just earlier. he had high energy, he had high damage output there, so whenever it was caught in one spot, he was able to just burn them down. Saves that tool to buy this time. If they could continue to trade up like this, they may even prevent capture altogether. They may just end this map and take a 2-0 lead in the series.
At least the key difference here for Finland is that they are holding on to the Transcendence, so as I say that, they're going to go ahead and toss this one out before the grab comes through. Lynx are going to be dead. Might have just fallen off the side here. It's taken down, and that's going to be Zhao pushing forward. It nearly had 100 energy. Will get taken out. Tapis answers back, getting rid of the enemy's Aria. Now they're holding on to their own grab Dragon Strike combo, but in this fight, Main has built up for his Transcendence. Taimu taken down, his mistakes goes onto the high ground. He's looking for Shaz. One more arrow, might just do it. Passive.
It's so huge when he kills Taimu, no one can kill him up there, so he knows he's got free reign. He's just doing massive damage. He's killing the supports in the backline. Finland had a huge opportunity, and it's all shattered here by mistakes. Here's the grab combo.
Tosses that one in. Dragon Strikes rolling through from both teams. Taimu gonna be one of the only ones who dies, actually. Zappos and Lynx have both managed to stay alive. No one from Russia gonna be falling.
But they win the time bank
Fraggy, and he needs this one to be fat if they're gonna get this push in. They're already now down below the time bank of Russia, so not gonna be able to best them, but they need to get the finish.
Fraggy's just trying to look for an angle here. It may just have to be a charge in order to make that happen. Tonic's sitting on one as well. He's trying to find the angle. Running forward here.
Shadow Burn gets taken down. Taimu opens things up, getting rid of that Widow pressure, maybe drawing the Mercy away. They do. Okay, so the res is going to come through here from Russia. Shatter comes down. Tonic throws his in, gets the pin, and that's going to be Fraggy eliminated. And now they can go ahead and push forward. Big Goose goes very far forward, gets that res off, does not get punished, and they manage to find the shot there on a Tonic. Now Taimu gets another one. Mistake's going to go down. It's going to be the Mercy taken out of the skies as they try to push this one in. 13 seconds remaining. Finland will they be able to finish with time in the bank? The answer is going to be yes, 9.9 seconds. They make it through to point C.
Zappy's having a really nice engage there at the end, and the sneak in through there to get the res off of Fraggy. They're able to basically thread the needle to make that happen. Without that, this point does not finish. Fraggy doesn't come back to life and will not be able to make that big fight happen. We're going to take a look at this replay here of Taimu, who gets on the high ground uncontested. And that's one of the things, who kills mistakes here. That's one of the matchups there with Sniper versus Sniper on point C. If you control the high ground, you can really start to light up the tanks. And you think about snipers in this meta where you have these massive, tank balls moving towards each other. Sometimes the snipers look low impact from the outsider's perspective because their shield's up. It's tough to get in there, find line of sight. However, if you're up on the high ground and you've killed the enemy sniper, so you have nothing to worry about, you don't even have to be checking for sight lines, then you could just start to do additional damage, and that's when, Taimu starts to get half a tank killed. Fraggy gets the other half, right? He swings forward, and they start to snowball that fight in that way. So those big picks in the sniper war, whether it's Widow versus Hanzo, Hanzo versus Widow, those are the big picks, I think, on C, where you can make a lot of impactful plays.
Well, bumped up to a minute here is Team Finland. Russia going to be moving up to 1:46 for their attack. Finland start things off. Let's see just how far they can go. The initial attack from them was absolutely wonderful. So possibly, going to be looking to kite around into the Alderworth. They spot out the trap. They go ahead, burst that one down. Shadow Burn up above them here. Get a lot of damage. He drops down. Going to get a lot of damage in. Thought maybe he would get punished there, but it's not going to happen. I highly doubt that Main is going to get caught off guard this time.
He's playing greedier because he wants the Riptire this time that he was unable to get last time.
He's almost got it.
Yeah, and
14%.
I really like this change up in his play because he will, I think, have it no matter what here. Let's get picked in the next second.
Now he's trying to ask them. He's welcoming them onto the low ground. He's, yes, please, just trade places with me. I'll pop back up as you come down. I'll get a ton of damage in. Now he's going to have a Riptire. Draws that one out. Can they focus it down? No, but he's going to get the pop here on his Zappos, takes him out of the bank, and Taimu's going to get taken down at the same time. Follow up from Shadowburn, gets rid of the Baby Diva. Now Fraggy going to fall. It's 3 seconds remaining. Finland have to be in onto the point as it goes into overtime, but Big Goose gets taken down by the concussive mine. And that should just about be it. No percentage at all on the point. Finland now have to get a full hold to try to bring us to a draw with 1:46 on the clock for Russia.
When you're so good at one style and it's very strong on the map, and you were already able to get a capture earlier on the same map with that same type of push, when you have a short time bank, like less than a minute, your opponents are looking at this saying, well, this is pretty predictable what they're probably going to do, right? And Russia, I think, is turning the strengths of Finland into weaknesses, and how they rotated around the same push, put Shadowburn in position to build that Riptire, you put it so well. They went up to him, and then he just traded spots with them repeatedly. Junkrat's not a hero that I think people who, just play quick match or play the ladder, at a somewhat casual level think of as a high mobility hero, but in fact, actually at the highest level, Junkrat can go high ground to low ground very quickly, build that rip tire, and that's exactly what we saw from Shadowburn there, which blew up the Diva mech and then allowed Russia to have the defense. Now they've got so much time to get just one tick. Finland is going to have to trade up really well here on the defense. Running double sniper again. And Taimo had great moments there, especially on the Widow there in the end of point C to help them get completion. If he can get a kill here on the back line or win the sniper battle with line of sight advantage, could eat through some of that time bank.
Needs to be Mr. Good Aim. The fire strike's going to be exchanged from either side. Chow gets tagged up quite a bit. Otherwise, we'll be okay. Shots coming down in exchange. Shot for shot.
Yeah. Okay, good positional advantage here, though, for Russia now as they sneak around the point.
Snake's looking for an angle. Coming up from behind the statue here. Barrier's still going to be up for Fraggy. Now trying to weave those shots through as Shadowburn wraps around through the Alderworth Hotel. Storm Arrow's out, looking for an angle. Linkser, can he win the duel this time?
Yeah, he was greedy last time.
His death in the hotel is what unraveled the point A defense for the side of Finland. He's playing very far forward again. Shadowburn looking for it, but Linkser gets it this time around. Fraggy, however, tagged it from the side, but flips back over, and now Main's gonna be eliminated. Fantastic start here for Finland with 55 more seconds on the clock.
There's only so much mistakes can do in this moment after, his cohort in crime, Shadowburn, is dead, and Main is down as well. So 45 seconds, as you say.
I mean, look at the ult charge on the Hanzos.
Yeah, very, very much massive advantage for Link, so that could buy so much time here. With realistically only one big push left for Russia. So they're slow pushing around here, looking to build up that Shatter with the Fire Strike. Doesn't get it, 94%. He's so
Nearly
close.
Has it. Dragon Strike coming down, but Linkser's going to be the one that falls. Shot finds the kill, and now it's going to be Fraggy dead as well. Linkser going to be res back into the mix. They find two. Shatter coming through. Now it's going to be the Transcendence out. And coming down, not going to be able to get that kill. Tonic just going to be pinning himself into the corner, trying to stay alive. Fire Strike coming down wildly, just tossing that one out. He falls low and gets taken down. Linkser finds the hit. Russia not able to make their way onto the point, not going to be getting any percentage yet, and the Reinhardt is still out of the fight. Just have that Zarya, and as I say it, he's going to die. Main a bit too late with that Transcendence, can't put him into the fight. Trying to offer up a res, but Linkser punishes the enemy Mercy. No healers alive. Tonic swaps over onto that Hammond to try to get back into the mix, but the adaptive shield just isn't going to be enough, and Finland will be able to hold them off.
Linkser gets redemption. This time, he gets the kills in the Alderworth Hotel there on the right side. As defender, usually the Hanzo will stick back, wait for a better opportunity to do damage, but Linkser's playstyle is a little bit different. He wants to go for the surprise attack there, pop out the Storm Arrows, win that Hanzo duel, because both Hanzos, of course, will fight over this position quite a bit. And that risk cost them big, as we were talking about on the first defense of point A. But moving into that overtime round where he was the defender, he took the risk again, came up big, built that early Dragon Strike, which bought them so much time, and then he was able to just get consistent kills right after that. And I think we do have to talk about Shadowburn's Junkrat once again, because without his fantastic play there to stop what Finland was doing, this might have been a different situation entirely. We might not have actually been looking at a draw, in fact. So those are the two key players. Yeah,
one tick, all that they needed. Any percent that they could get onto the board would have allowed them to get that victory, but instead they are able to hold them off. They keep Russia at bay, even with that superior timing that they had. It was, 46 seconds, so nothing that significant in the grand scheme of things, but they hold them off, and they're going to bring us to a draw, so not going to be falling down 2-0, but we're halfway through the series technically here.
Still a 1-0.
Yeah, it's still a 1-0. Russia is still going to be in the lead here, but Finland, they're gaining some momentum back. They claw back some ground, but can they take a lead? Can they get the win in the end is going to be the question. I believe we have probably an interview ready with one of the players as we get ready to go into halftime. So let's go ahead and hear from Linkser on the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Linkser of Team Finland now. Linkser, you guys had a really tough matchup against South Korea yesterday. Coming into today, did you feel like you guys emotionally recovered, got some rest, and were ready to play today?
I would say so. I think we all just got a bit surprised by Russia. I think we didn't lose to Russia because of they were like exceptional, like South Korea was, but more like we weren't like really geared up, Like we are slowly warming up to like to beat the series basically.
I was actually going to ask that next, because it's 1-0, and it's been a tightly contested match. What do you think have been some of the keys to them keeping the match so close with you guys?
I think we were a bit surprised by Sadoburn's Farah. Like it was obviously kind of like a design maker in the Oasis. He always like whips it out and like does really well. But like apart from that, I think our combos were not as good as they were like even on day one. And I think if you just make them happen better and take fights a bit more precisely, so we don't give them so much advantage over nothing.
Right. All right, now, one more thing off of the game. How have you been enjoying it here in South Korea, man? If this, to my understanding, this is your first time as well, right?
I've been loving South Korea. I think the food is good, but I want to visit Seoul and Busan before I leave. I think there's more to see.
Definitely explore as much as you can. Well, Linkster, thank you very much, and best of luck on the rest of this match. And with that, guys, it is Finland and Russia, 1-0. Russia is up. Stay tuned because we're going to have a lot more Overwatch World Cup coming to you right after the break. The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. And by Omen by HP, the official PC of the Overwatch World Cup.
Whoa, bro. You are not driving. I'm driving, bro.
What?
Yeah. I'm like the guy. And you're kind of like, what? The other guy,
What do you mean?
Well, look, you're my wingman, right? Yeah, you're like my navigator, my passenger.
Whoa.
No offense.
No, definitely offense taken. I'm in the driver's seat plenty.
Well, think of it this way, bro. Like, I'm kind of like the maverick, and you're kind of like the goose.
Oh, okay. I see how this is. I'm Batman. You're Robin.
Bro, you gotta be at least this tall to be Batman.
I am.
And secondly, I'm Sinatra. You are Sleepy.
No. You are sleepy, man.
Right, you are definitely sleepy, mate.
You're sleepy.
You got the sickest
You
sleep
are
dice, bro. You are
sleepy.
definitely sleepy, man.
You know what? You drive. It's fine.
What? Full disclosure, I haven't driven on the right before.
What?
Yeah, I technically don't have my US license yet.
What is wrong with you?
A lot of things!
Get ready to show the world who you really are in the Toyota CHR. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are halfway through our series here between Russia and Finland. Russia leading 1-0 because we had a draw on Kings Row. Finland able to sort of claw things back, get that draw coming through with their defense there, full holding them on the attack. A minute 46, not too bad. So Finland, they pull it off, but now still going to be moving forward with their map pick. Still going to be looking for Assault. Where are we going to go is the question, because tank heavy fits pretty well on a lot of different Assault maps.
I mean, I think we just have to talk about how Russia is kind of picking apart what Finland's playstyle is. I mean, we had to see Taimo, of course, on the Widow towards the end of that stage there on King's Row.
And it was instrumental.
Yeah, it was super instrumental. His kill there onto, I believe it was Mistakes there, where he killed the Hanzo, was able to control the high ground, helped them complete the point in the first place. We're seeing a lot of flexibility shown here by Finland, though, because I think at first they really just wanted to run goats. They wanted to run, you know, at least triple tank of some variation. But by the end of it, they were showing us double sniper there on King's Row, and it worked out really well for them. So it's good to see another facet of this team's play, because when they picked King's Row, I was kind of concerned that maybe they'd be a little bit one-dimensional. Even though they're so good at it, it becomes predictable at some point, as we saw from Shadowburn's rotations there on the extra round defense. So I guess the map choice goes still to Finland again,
Should
right?
still be Finland's choice, yeah.
So when you think about maps that are good for their playstyle, one that really comes to mind for me is Horizon. Definitely don't want to go to Anubis.
Oh, I was going to say, actually, I don't think you should go to Horizon just because of how Shadowburn's been playing on the Junkrat.
That's
that would
true.
be such a big pick on the defense, and that's one of the few things that can actually shut down goats very reliably on that initial push. If you get one person dead, it's all over and done with. So I don't know, but it's a mystery, so let's go ahead and see what they have selected here as we get ready to move into Assault, and it's going to be Volskaya Industries.
Okay, an interesting one. So they want to play into Taimo, I think, again, on the Widow. That's what this is going to mostly be about, but it does not play well into Reinhardt Zarya historically, and it's been a map that's more Winston-dominated, and Fraggy will be having to play that. It's a hero that we know Tonic is also very comfortable with, so I think it's a solid map pick, but I think it's going into this series, like if you showed me this map, like if I could see the future, I would be very surprised to see that this is where we ended up. Not only the map, but also the scoreline, but still.
Yeah.
Taimu, this was the map he played Widow on the most back at the beginning of his career. This is where he played Widow in Season 1 of Apex.
This is where Carpe has very bad memories.
Yeah. So, you know, this is a map where I think he shines on with the Widowmaker, and they're just going to play to his strengths here, which, again, is cool because it shows so much flexibility for Finland, because when you look at how this series started and the stories that we wrote and the narratives from the South Korea series, it was all fraggy, 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 the huge explosive combo there with Zappies on Rialto. These kinds of plays are the plays I think the fans will remember from the beginning of this group stage. But today, it's more about the snipers, more about Taimu, Linkser, and what the tanks set up for them in terms of line of sight.
Well, this is the second team to pick Volskaya into Russia. And the first time out, it didn't work out so well. So we'll see how Finland fares as they get ready to kick things off here. They're on the defense to start things off. Russia will be on the attack right now, going to be showing us the double sniper. And honestly, for point A especially, wouldn't be very shocked if we see this stuck through.
This is going to be Russia trying to get Mistakes onto the high ground. Shadowburn is going to be fantastic at breaking Fraggy down, using the Storm Arrow to burst him down with Main's Discord Orbs. Gonna look for some vision right now with this Sonic Arrow as he lurks around.
Tossin one straight up into the air, just about. Bubble already gonna get broken. Storm Arrows pulled out here as he looks for a target. Linkser pops up over the top, takes one hit, trades one back. Sonic Arrow down again. Linkser gets spotted. 9 HP remaining on Shadowburn. Can't finish him off now. The pocket's coming through from Meng. Pops him back up to full HP. Shadow falls down again.
He was
trying still gonna be safe.
He was also trying to figure out where Taimu was. He knows now, but really aggressive positioning by Taimu. But look, Mistakes gets the info, finds an angle, gets that high ground.
He gets jumped on, but will not be going down. Tries to go for the shot there on a Shaz, gets a body hit. As Fraggy is also dangerously low and will get finished off by the poison trap of all things as a Winston. That is a very bad feel. And now Russia's going to be pushing forward here onto the point, looking for that cap, already moving up for the tick shot towards Big Goose. Not going to find the connection. So looking for a little bit more. Mistakes going to be unhindered here in the back at the moment as Tonic presses forward, looking for the supports here on the side of Team Finland. Zap coming down. Speaking of Zaps, Zappis will die.
Down he goes, and that should be Russia taking full control
Zaps
over
for
point A.
Zappis.
And this is all on the back of just really close, or not close, but I want to say slow, close play around the approach of the archway into getting Shadowburn on the high ground. He tossed out Sonic Arrow. They find Taimu. They communicate to Mistakes where he is. Mistakes goes and gets that kill, and everything just kind of falls into place from there. They win the longer fight. So good time bank, 620 to work with here, just over 620 as they approach B. No big initiation ultimates to speak of to get the double cap here, though. So it's going to be slow play yet again, just trying to operate around high ground for the double snipers.
Self-destruct going to be online here for Finland. Plethora of ultimates here for Russia. Dragon Strike going to be coming through. Moving up over towards that high ground. Zao going to get popped out of the mech in the end. The Linkster does get taken out by Shadowburn. Overall, they could be happy to get the Diva. Dive into the back. Taimu's just going to get popped. Tonic just finds him right off the start of this engage. Shadowburn spamming away. Storm Arrows coming out, looking for an opportunity to use his own Dragon Strike. Ticks coming through. First one going to be gained already for Russia, and they have 5.5 in the time bank. Second tick coming down. Finland have to contest this point. No one's doing it here at the moment. They finally push forward. And a range out from Tonic, just trying to shove them off. Flanks are eliminated by Tonic. Big Goose into the back, has to retreat out to the spawn room. Push back in. Primal Rage now going to be popped by Fraggy.
Still
Tries to buy some time for the rest of his squad.
Huge win here for Finland. They got almost the full capture, traded so many ultimates effectively.
Yeah, it's been a really good push here for them. Shadowburn going to get taken down. Tonic manages to find Linkster. Finland really suffering heavy losses. Shaz falling low, will get eliminated, and Fraggy will join him in the grave, and that's just going to be it. Russia get the finish. Massive time bank. Again, another team chooses Volskaya Industries against the Russian squad, and they show up huge. There's still an opportunity. Obviously, the match is not done. It's not over.
Yeah.
Finland can still exceed the time bank here, but it's 5 minutes flat for Russia.
Yeah, I misspoke earlier when I said Finland there, but Russia gets the attack, trades up well with ultimates like I was saying, and it's just crazy to me that how this series is going is, when we're talking about main tanks, we're talking mostly about Tonic, we're talking about his success on the Winston, and it's also, again, further odd. I don't think anyone would have believed me if I, again, had a time machine. I could go back in time and say that Finland will pick Volskaya, and we'll be in a series where they're on assault down 0-1. But playing really well around sight lines there, getting up onto the high ground on A, having a really coordinated push for B. And now for Finland, they're going to have to do something similar, right? The idea here is going to be to operate to get Taimu up to the top left high ground, and for Linkster to help burst down the tanks. Very similar style of play with the comp that they have shown, at least in the spawning room here. But the difference for the defense goes to Mistakes. They actually want Shadowburn for kind of counter dive on the Hanzo, and Mistakes is going to look, I think, to punish Taimu. He will either hide behind this archway here and try to get damage done that way as he slowly approaches the point, or may try to then do the same thing that Mistakes did previously, grapple up to the left side and look for damage that way. That's where Mistakes can punish. Either way, if Finland operates around using Fraggy to attack on Winston, try to dive up, he can find picks onto Shaz or Big Goose. So it's a risky pick, the Tracer pick. It doesn't offer you a lot of burst damage like a Widow does, but you can punish dive when someone gets left behind, whether it's Widow or supports.
Well, just going to be spawning out the enemy composition here. Zao finds his way back. Shots coming through. Linkster and Shadowburn going to be dancing this dance yet again, as the arrows just keep on flying. No one finding any meaningful connections yet. Finland just playing this one out slowly. Taimu going to be over onto that Brigida.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out, where Mistakes is right now before they dive.
Well, they push up onto the high ground here, forcing back Team Russia. They'll be operating over onto the point. Eng takes one arrow, but not going to have much of a follow-up here from Linkster to get the kill. Shadowburn pops right over the top. Impales his head with that one, taking him down. Shaz going to be under fire. The pocket's going to be available, and now Tonic's going to fall, so Finland still do find a meaningful turnaround here. Rez comes out onto the Winston, but now Shadowburn dead. Zap is coming up with those killed. Fraggy going to be eliminated. Linkster just spamming these arrows straight in the face of the enemy tanks as Tonic falls dangerously low, trying to keep himself alive. Taimu pushes forward, gets the stun in on the Shao. As he falls low, Storm arrows coming through. They will be able to run him down and knock him out of that mech. And now it's going to be decently isolated here for Tonic. Gets moved back, jumps over to the side, drops the bubble to stay alive. Not in onto the point yet here for Finland. Not going to be ticking up. Fraggy gets rid of the Baby Diva, and now Main with the Transcendence expiring will get taken down as Finland starts to open up the point for themselves. Shadowburn still manages to take down Linkster time and time again.
They can buy some
Coming up with
time.
that one, and now Tonic's going to be back into the fight. He pushes forward, Primal Rage going to be coming out as Fraggy dies. Mistakes finds that hit.
Not even a single tick, and Mistakes gets that backline kill I was
They're
talking about.
almost there.
Instance
Okay,
away.
they finally get it, but it's still, they're suffering heavy losses. The support's going to be dead here for Finland. Now Taimu dying. Zappa's going to be knocked out. He's got that self-destruct for the reapproach, for the time bank. Already not looking good for Finland. If they got the cop right now, they would only have a minute to get beat if they wanted to tie Russia.
Mistakes is the X factor here on the Tracer because he's finding the supports, he's finding these picks in the backline. Whenever Fraggy goes in, again, you know, you can't dive as the Zenyatta. You can't really follow necessarily as the Mercy in this case. So that's where Big Goose and Shaz are finding themselves killed when he comes into the backline. Here comes another dive attempt. Dragon Strike to lead.
Yeah, throws that one down. Fraggy with a Primal Rage tries to stay alive, but they just rip him apart. Zappos as well falling low with the mech. Transcendence going to be out from Shaz. Trying to keep everybody topped up. Mistakes is building up for another pulse bomb. Nearly has that. Rez coming down, turns around and says, oh God, you're right up in my face. Self-destruct comes through. Zappos not going to find a pick, but he makes it back into the mech, and we're going to hear that Valkyrie popped out from Ang, and now Main has another Transcendence available. Linkster trades it back, finds a hit there on a Shadowburn, pulse bomb in, but not going to get the pick off. But Taimu still falling low, getting zapped here by Tonic. They're not going to be able to find the kill. And gets into position, brings Shadowburn back into the mix with the res. As Mistakes tries to kind of around the backhand side here, but Shaz is aware of this.
They're doing so much to try to counter him. They, swapped Taimu over to the Brigida, and even Shaz was looking for him around the corner, but he's still just doing so much damage. It's insane what he's able to do. You can see him up here even on the high ground. Here's the threat
Right
again
away,
on the back.
now he looks good for Taimu. They dash forward, they manage to take him down, so he's going to be out of the fight right as that rally was getting ready to come online. Linkster gets tanked up, has a Dragon Strike available, but might not find an opportunity to use it. He takes down Tonic, but the rest is available. Russia brings him straight back into the fight. Main going to die. Finland need an opening here. They need to get onto the point. They have the 2 ticks coming through, but now it's 30 seconds remaining. So even with the cap, we'll be operating at a massive disadvantage for the time bank. But Zappos is going to be eliminated. Fraggy closer and closer to the Primal Range, has it available here. Shadowburn under some pressure, will get taken down. Self-destruct out from Chow, not going to find any picks. Big Goose up front, taking a lot of damage here from the Bulls pistols, but the pressure is going to be alleviated by Linkster as he snipes down that Tracer. Now Chow knocked out of the Mechtonix is dead. And that is going to be Russia suffering heavy losses, finally surrendering point A. But the overall damage is done. If Finland finished this map, it is going to be at such a disadvantage as far as the time is concerned.
They're already a minute behind, and it was so well played by Russia how they avoided taking head-on confrontations. Tonic going in to finish off weakened targets there with Mistakes, so Mistake was able to find those angles. Now we're going to see the approach here for Finland again with no hard initiation. Dragon Strike's going to be what they use.
And toss it there onto the high ground. Just trying to spot them out, trying to maybe pop the mech there, but not going to be able to find it. And just dashing around, builds up for that Valkyrie. Shadowburn takes a lot of damage, but Linkster can't get the finishing shot.
Very sustainable comp here for Finland.
Over to Mistakes. It's one hit in. Chow going to be knocked out of the mech. Charge forward here, Shaz. With that Transcendence up, they make their way in on the point. They try to get the cap coming through. They need this one on this push. If they can get it, at least they would have a fighting chance.
Well, this comp is just not going to run out of health anytime soon. As long as Fraggy survives here, Taimo's just putting off so much healing here with the left click. Shaz even holding on to some of that armor from the previous rally.
Fraggy hugging the corner, trying to keep himself alive. They nearly have the cap coming down. He'll hit the ground, barely staying in this one. The Dragon Strike now rolling through. Chow's going to be knocked out of the mix there, and that's going to be Main going down. Tonic as well from the Storm Arrow. Shadowburn finds one, eliminating Taimu. So no armor, no rally coming in onto this fight, but he can always rejoin, and that's going to be the res coming out from Big Goose as they really try to close this one out, and they will be able to do so. So Finland, they get it on the first push. The time bank is weaker, but now they have a chance. And if they got held off there, all hope basically going to be lost.
And obviously, we already saw on King's Row that just having the bigger time bank alone does not guarantee that you're going to walk away with a map win or a massive advantage in a series like this. But the thing that I think we should really take away from these first 2 defenses, especially of A, and we do see a lot of snowball caps on this map as we just saw on both sides, I think the big takeaway is often going to be how Russia was able to be more flexible. I think that Finland was. In the end here, we do see the Dragon Strike opens up that point. Really nicely played by Linkster, good angle. As they didn't have hard initiation outside of the arrow, if you use it at that angle there, can lead to a position where you're on the point, you've got triple support, you've got Taimo on the Brigida, and you end up winning and trading up. That's what happened there. But going back to the defense, it's very much a situation where with Mistakes on the Tracer, they basically tripped Finland up a few times. They punished them for their play. It was somewhat predictable, and Taimu had to swap over to the Brigida. So they already knew, like, okay, they're going to pick Volskaya. They don't want to play around Taimu. We have the answer, right? And I really like to see that kind of intelligent play coming out from a squad here like Russia. Mistakes will be on the Widow here now again for attack, and it is going to be that mirror matchup in this case. But we'll see if Russia wants to run that defensive tracer again a little bit later on.
We'll see how much Finland can get done here with the 2.5 minutes that they have on the time bank for this push. Any cap, any ticks would do them a massive favor. That's 5 minutes to hold off for 0 ticks. Pretty damn impressive if they can pull that one off, but we'll see what they can get on the board here for themselves. Taimu just looking for an angle, trying to find somebody's head.
Yeah, if he can
snipe.
If he can get the kill onto the enemy Widow, he can just go up on the high ground and do massive damage. That's what
Spots
he's
him out,
looking for.
take some shots back and forth. Shadowburn again, gonna be finding Linkser. Shot coming down from Taimu, tries to get rid of the enemy Hanzo, not gonna find it, but Big Goose can go ahead and get the res. So operating as a 6-man squad again is Finland, but still heavy damage onto the tank, so they have to play back a bit, get everyone topped up, and then re-aggress, go back forward to try to get this cap through. Push forward here from Mistakes, he shows his face, Taimu not finding the first hit. To get one tag, he gets knocked down to half HP, but he's gonna drop onto the low ground there into the garage, I believe, to keep himself safe.
He's doing a lot of damage here to the enemy Widow, but not getting any kills. Meanwhile, Fraggy is trying to do what he can up on the front line, but Shadowburn's making his life miserable here. He is gonna jump up once again, has to be pocketed.
Dragon Strike is set. So Shadowburn does have this one online. Linkser just now getting his.
Dragon Strike, he may want to just use it as a
Just
swim, and he will! This could be huge!
Main does not have that Transcendence available. Not gonna get taken down, but Taimu manages to find Shadowburn, and now it's gonna be the self-destruct out from Savage to find Mistakes. They get rid of him, and that's gonna be Xiao. So low, gets knocked out of the mech, and Tonic is dead before he can get the Primal Rage. Finland have broken open this point. They get the effective wipe, and now this buys them so much space to work with, an additional 30 seconds on the clock.
It's just so well played. He gets into a position where he has vision, everyone's corralled into the room, tosses out the Dragon Strike, at the same time Zappies throws out the self-destruct because he knows there's basically nowhere to run at that moment. In that moment of chaos as well, Taimu gets the kill onto Shadowburn, and from there it's just, the point is basically lost. Russia gets caught off guard by this, but they still hold big ult charge here. 5 of 6 ultimates carried at the moment to defend the next push. And Linkser does not have the Dragon Strike he had last time to open up this point.
Pulling off anything, any ticks here for Finland would be so impressive given the ultimates available for Russia. As you say, Fraggy's going into the back. He pops that primal range as the rest of Finland charges forward. Tries to get the hit there. It's going to be Eng bringing back over into the spawn. Fraggy rejoining here onto the point. Has to jump back with the rest of his squad. Dragon Striker is going to be rolling down the lane looking for a pick, but not going to be finding anything. As Mistakes swaps over onto the McCree, but he's getting tagged up, and Shadowburn's going to be dead. Linkser with a Dragon Strike of his own, holding this one, waiting for that Transcendence to expire from main. Should Bill right now tosses this one straight up as well. Not going to be finding much of anything. Main just skirting around that one. Self-destruct now into the air from Xiao. Looking for a pick-off, but not going to find it, but he's still not going to make it back into the mech. Linkser actually comes up with another one, gets another one. His main will go down. He'll get shield bashed, however, gets taken down, or gets stunned up. Flashbang rather from Mistakes will set him, so used to Brigada being in the mix.
Yeah.
But Finland, they're actually making this one happen. The second tick's coming through.
Ticks.
Wrecking Ball coming down. Xiao pushes forward this corridor instantly in, and Zappis shuts them out as well as Main with that self-destruct. Finland moving forward, looking forward in overtime. Mistakes jumps forward onto the Trace, or the Sombra, but he'll get taken down. Tonic as well with the Tracer. Shadowburn dead on the Genji, and Finland with a lesser time bank actually close out Volskaya here. They get the double cap in OT.
And despite some of the best efforts that we've seen in a while to delay from Russia with Xiao on the Diva, Linkser gets that super critical kill there before he could remech. He was standing on the edge. He kept coming in every time the ults were popped, for example. I think we might see this.
This is just chaos, depending on where we're looking at here, yeah.
Okay, this is just Xiao coming through here. There's the double kill from Zappies there at the end. Everything wholly unnecessary there, but, you know, it does end up securing them the point at the end of the day. But anyway, just the plays from Linkser there on both Bs. The first attack where he was able to set up the engage by forcing everyone out of position by the Dragon Strike. Obviously, we saw multiple Dragon Strikes there at the end, but his kill there onto Xiao, moments like those small individual plays where he's able to, with one tiny move, change the entire course of how this map is going to go. Preventing the remech there on Diva means that they force the entire movement of Russia in towards the point, because if no one's on it, as Xiao was, just trying to buy time there with the self-destruct, then they lose the tick. So then Russia has to then sloppily move in and try to hold off the attack there. So Not to mention they're down a diva at that moment. So Lynx are coming up with a lot of big plays throughout this series. But 5 minutes of time bank here for Russia on the attack now. And let's see what they can get done.
Pushing forward. Much larger time bank. Finland pulling off effectively a miracle with that assault. Getting the win. Not the win yet, but you know, getting the caps, I should say. Push forward. Mistakes going to take a tag off screen. Shadowburn trying to snipe. Trying to get those hits on Taimu into the back. Lynxers operating on the Tracer. We'll be looking for a flank opportunity to try to burn down the Mercy or the enemy Zenyatta.
Yeah, really nice angle here from him to do
Big
damage.
Goose.
Big Goose in trouble.
Goes low, gets taken down. Tonic able to follow up. They find that hit. He will fall. They still have their own Mercy into the mix. They might be able to get that res, but now Mistakes is also going to die. Taimu trading up in the Widow v Widow back matchup.
Yeah, and
Alleviating some pressure here, buying some time off that bank. Already going to be a minute gone.
but Russia's going to have to back up and reset, and the key factor here again is going to be what does Mistakes do? He's actually going to swap over, interestingly enough, to the Brigida here. Now, that's not going to offer him much against dealing with the sniper fire from Taimu, but it can stop Lynxer's threatening backline dives here, at least a little bit, as Shadowburn is going to be his primary target. If they step away, though,
Spots it, going in. He's looking for that one, but he's not going to be able to get it. Takes some low, but not going to find the kill. But in the meantime, Tonic will die. Fraggy falling dangerously low. Seems like he might just be kept up. Self-destruct comes out, not going to find anything. Mistake's going to die to the poison trap. Res out from Aang, puts Tonic back into the fight, and now the Winston's gone from Finland, but Big Goose might be able to get the res off. Self-destruct here from Xiao. Running them back, and he'll make it back into the mech as that pulse bomb comes down from Lynxer. Res finally comes through. Big Goose gets their own Winston back in. Lynxer falls low, has to kite away, get that health pack. Taimu as well under duress. Will get taken down by Main in the end. Russia still in onto the point. They get 1.5 ticks coming through nearly to that second, but now they're starting to kite their way back, and Tonic is going to die on the exit. Xiao as well, falling low, below half HP as he operates on the high ground. Zappos is going to be fine, tosses the self-destruct up into the air, and finds a pick up there on the Shadowburn as well as the knockout there. Xiao falls out of his suit.
that's going to be the end of this attack. They can't, without Shadowburn, they can't make this attack work. He's going to swap over the Widow, and suddenly Finland has total control over this point A. Shadowburn's going to have to try to somehow deal with Taimu, but when you're running this composition, you're always under threat of Lynxer. Just the same, it's, the roles are reversed now. We saw Mistakes do this on defense earlier.
Yep.
Now Lynxer's doing the same thing. In order to get Shadowburn into position, you have to dive. Then Lynxer's going to come and find your supports when they're not protected.
There is no Transcendence available. Okay, good opening here for Russia though. It's going to be Shadowburn finding the hit there. Onto Taimu, but the pulse comes down, finds the stick. Trying to get that res off, and he will be able to do so. The one clip not going to be available for that Tracer. Can't punish it, so Shadowburn's right back into the mix. Now it's going to be Transcendence out from Main as they charge in onto the point. They also have that self-destruct here. Does Russia to buy some space. Frankie trying to play forward. Goes low. He's down below half HP off screen at the moment. Will be taken down. Lynxer pushes forward, finds Shadowburn. But that second tick comes through. Russia. Under 2 minutes remaining on the clock at the second tick. Right now, Lynxer trying to contest this one. Gets the health pack, trying to stay alive. He'll get taken down, and Zappos will get popped out. So Russia should be able to get the completion here onto point A. An extra 30 seconds on the clock. Finland, can they stabilize? Can they hold them off and get the win here on Volskaya?
That's the big question. It was really well played there by Russia despite Lynxer's best efforts. Now he's going to make the swap over to, once again, the Hanzo. So looking for that Hanzo play here on B. Shadowburn wants to get up on the high ground here. Tonic trying to buy that space. He's got the primal rage so he can be more aggressive. Shadowburn goes down.
Take him out, and that can just force the res if they want to keep pushing forward. Yeah, Hank's gonna go ahead, brings him back into the fight. Mistakes playing up around the corner. Looking for a hit. Tonic gonna get stunned up, the bubble's there. Self-destruct going into the back, not gonna be finding a pick off, but Main manages to get rid of Fraggy. Self-destruct in, Xiao's gonna take that one straight to the dome, as he will get knocked out of that mech. Tonic with the primal, however, will find a kill, getting rid of that Hanzo. Push down onto the low ground, looking for Shaz, but he pops that Transcendence. Tonic has another bubble down, gets stunned up a bit, but now we'll be able to help zap Taimu to death as they try to get the caps rolling through. One tick nearly on the board for Russia as they try to get this completion. 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining.
Lynxer.
As they keep trying to move forward. Lynxer under fire, gets stunned up, gets taken down. Mistakes fall so low, but will not die.
That's one of the best tools that they have to actually defend this point. The Dragon Strike he's holding, he's going to have to respawn before that happens.
Second tick is nearly here. Now Zappos is going to get knocked out of the mech. Big Goose is gone. Finland, they need to hold this off to try to maybe just force that second draw coming through, but they're ticking this one up. Fraggy finally tags in, but he just gets shredded down instantly. Taimu Look at his
Doomfist
way
coming
in.
out.
Linkser has the Doomfist, but it doesn't stand a chance. They all just focus fire and they take him out. And that's out from Shaz. They work their way back in onto the point. Biku's going to be shifting over onto Lucio to try to keep everybody else alive. Zappis nearly has that self-destruct. Now it's going to be online. Has that to buy some space, maybe even make it back into the mech. He's going to toss it straight up into the air, looking for a pickoff. The bubble's coming down. Not going to find anything, but not going to have the punish, so he makes it back through. So both tanks still going to be alive.
Fraggy doesn't have primal.
Biku's under a little bit of fire. Tonic going to get taken down. Finland trying to throw this one back in as there's 11 seconds left on the clock here.
Now or
Mistake's
nothing.
going to get eliminated. Linkser jumps forward, looking for the kill here onto the baby Nina. They're going to be able to find it. Hang floating up into the sky. Going to be looking for an opportunity to res. He drops back down, but everybody focus fires the Mercy. They take him out. OT comes through. Shadowburn's going to be dead. And Finland have actually held them off the miracle run to get the second cap here on Volskaya.
This
A big time big for Russia, but it's not enough.
This was such an incredible defense, and things looked bad for them at the beginning. Shadowburn got rezzed, they had control of the high ground, but what happened next after the first ticks coming through was the swap over to Doomfist for Linkser, and he was able to build those shields, do that extra damage, get the burst through, and at that point, after all the ultimates were burned, especially Tonic's Primal Rage, and of course the Transcendence that just came right afterwards, they had no more steam. Like, it was do or die in that moment, and in moments like that, when the Doomfist comes out, he's nigh unkillable because he builds shields the more damage he does. It's kind of a snowball-y situation. That's why we see so many Doomfists come through to delay on point Bs of Assault specifically. So when we see the Doomfist come out like that, start to get those shields, I mean, in Russia's case, after they burned all their, all their support ultimates and didn't have the Primal Rage to keep Tonic alive, things just start to collapse there. Miracle defense for Finland, I think, everyone could agree, but they needed that because if they lost this because of the tie, no matter how the fourth map went, it would still be a 2-1 score for them if they won it. So that was important for them to keep this series alive.
Yeah, I really like how Finland in their last two series have delivered some very unique things. We have our first draw from them here. They gave us the first losses for South Korea, nearly taking them down. But can they close this out? Can they take down Russia? And, theoretically, effectively, punch their ticket to BlizzCon with that second place spot, because that's really what this fight is all about. There's still chances that we have those upsets come through and we could have the ranks shuffled around, but it seems like things are pretty clear cut. You've got, South Korea up here going to be your S tier, and then you got to go down the line. It's Russia and Finland pretty much neck and neck for your A tier, then Japan after that. There's still chances that we have some crazy stuff happen and the standings just get shuffled around, but I don't think that's going to happen. This is basically going to be it. Whoever can come out on top of this just might be going to BlizzCon.
Well, let's take a look at what our maps are going to be, because Achilleos, this is going to be the deciding map.
Yep.
Dorado, because of the draw, there was no fifth game possible. This will be the deciding map. You can think of this series almost as a best of 3 with King's Row removed. This is a map where you can see, obviously, quite a lot of Widowmaker dominance, especially on the attack. If you can flank, get control, get that high ground. Both teams running extensive Widow in the Mistakes versus Taimu matchup, so that's going to be incredibly important. However, this is also a map to where there's the possibility we see Reinhardt Zarya in the early game on the attack. So,
Yeah.
and for the defenders as
showing
well.
it.
Yeah. So it's a map that does play into both Taimu and Mistakes' Widows, although we have seen some Shadowburn Widow. Both of these DPS players on both sides can run each, so it just depends on the composition of what you're running. Taimu obviously likes to flex over to the Brigida, so that's one of the things that does limit Finland's flexibility there a little bit, but the big point here is that early part of the map is, I think, the part where on both defense and attack, Fraggy can dominate with the Reinhardt. If Zappies can come up with big grabs, which, again, until this series, I really do feel Fraggy was easily the most dominant Reinhardt. Now Tonic's made a case for himself here. But the early part is going to be controlled by Finland in a lot of ways. The onus is going to be on Russia to break through that, or, prevent the attack there on defense, then get high ground control against, Linkser or Taimu, most likely Taimu, as we head to B. But it's all about the Reinhardt Zarya for this first stage.
Well, here we go. Shadowburn on the Hanzo yet again, as we see the double sniper on both teams charging forward. Finland going to be playing back into the market spot as Linkser finds that nice shot. Instant res coming down. Getting ready for that. He's going to be putting that Hanzo back into the fight.
Close quarters Widow 1v1 here.
Yeah, Mistake's looking for it. Tries to get that hit there. Taimu falls low. will be able to stay alive as Shadowburn's just going to be dumping those storm arrows into the barrier.
Got to be careful about not getting kills on tanks with the Hanzo, though. So we'll feed a lot of support ultimate charge. Shadowburn up here, try to find an angle on the supports if he can. Set for Taimu.
He's getting some shots in. Storm arrows around the back. Shaz takes a bit of damage. Going to be going down. Cart going to be holding here for the moment. Taimu finds a hit. That's going to be mistakes falling. Cart going to be stopped right here in the underpass.
Yeah, poison connecting, but not too consequential at the end of the day. In terms of ultimates, yeah, I mean, right now Russia has the lead. They're just trying to build up, farm up for those right now. Taimu has a great way to shut down a big attack with this Dragon Strike. He's got the vision for it. He's going to toss it out.
And tosses it straight in, and that's going to be Tonic going down. Zhao almost falls, but he manages to kite his way back here. Around the corner in time, but with no Reinhardt and no way to get really into position to try to get that res off safely. It's just going to be a nice hold coming through, and now they're going to be looking for some staggers. Linkser manages to find the hit onto the Mercy. So more time drained out Finland. Good start to this defense.
And well played by Taimu, because this one small win actually allows Finland to catch up in terms of tank ultimates. They don't get caught here by the ult advantage that Russia had. They've kind of evened that up now for the most part here. Very, very difficult now for Russia to set up for a hard engage, because Shaz also has Transcendence. As you can see, if you look at the Widows here, their positioning, they're trying to kind of avoid each other, look for flanking angles. Lynx are here doing exactly that.
Slows them up, but this could be Russia having the combo online if Chao can get that Graviton Surge. Shadowburn nearly has the Dragon Strike, but Linkser going to be winning the Widow duel here. To start things off as Fraggy falls low. Just charging back, just trying to get as far away as he possibly can, but he's still going to get taken down. The tank line going to be shattered here for Finland. Big Goose as well, going to be dying as that res comes in on the Zappies. Shadowburn throws out that Dragon Strike, takes out 2, and Russia can go ahead and cruise this cart into point A.
So we're going to see that capture come through. Finland already going to make the swap for Fraggy onto the Winston. And Zappies, I think, will probably hold onto this grab. It's one of those ults it's just too impactful to toss away in terms of spawn room change. It's one of the only ultimates in the game where you just really don't want to give that one up, because it can be a game fight winner, or a team fight winner, game changer, either way. But now it's going to be about the Widow battle we were talking about in a more open space. You can see Shadowburn here just trying to find an angle. Barrier, though, helps allow Linkser to get that kill.
That was some cheeky fun putting those arrows in the barrier. Linkser just shuts him down. There's none of that nonsense. Goes ahead, kills him off. Yeah, grab not going to be the most impactful thing that we've seen here today. Not going to get a kill, not going to get the break onto the mech there for Chao, so he'll be fine.
Well, he can't swap to the Diva until he dies, and that's he stay alive a little bit longer here, but this is a one fight for Russia, and they're just pushing this forward. It's kind of a free push right now. And the scariest part is that both Mistakes now has the high ground here, and Shadowburn, when he respawns, will be able to flank on the other side. Make it even difficult to just come out of the spawn, come out of this room to contest where the cart is about to roll around this corner. So Finland needs to solidify themselves on this defensive push now, otherwise Russia is just going to continue to pick them off at range.
Yeah. Point A defense was looking very good at the start here for Finland, but now things really unraveling for them overall. Very fast straight face push coming through for Russia. Now rolling up just in front of point B. Shadowburn's looking to break that barrier yet again. This time Linkser not going to take his head off. Actually, will lose his own. Yeah, Main sniping him out. Dragon Strike ready to go should he need to use it. It's going to be a push forward. As the arrow set, wants to kite his way back, tosses it straight into the side here against Zappis as he falls low. Not breaking out of the mech, however, at least not yet. But now with those supports, seems like that's going to be an inevitability. And he will go down. This is just going to be the finish.
You can just see, you know, how Mistakes and Shadowburn controlled the escape from the spawn, basically, as Link's going to get caught here again, it looks like. They couldn't even really get onto the point because all the damage that was coming up from the high ground. Shadowburn, you know, if it wasn't for that barrier you mentioned earlier, would have probably burst down the Winston before he come out. Fraggy having such a hard time getting in there, doing that damage, doing his job as a main tank when high ground line of sight is given to both DPSs here for Russia. Now they have, you know, ults to engage onto the cart itself. But Finland, you know, they're up against such a large time bank now. Mistakes going to look for Infrasight here to get a flank, potentially.
Down, Dragon Strike off the high ground here from Taimu. Shoves them back, allows for Zappis to push forward onto the cart. Try to gain control here for the moment. Fraggy holding onto that primal range. Will go ahead and toss that one down, but he's already below half HP as the focus fire comes through. Shadowburn will be able to go ahead and get the kill. Mistakes and Tonic had fallen, but he's going to put the Winston back into the fight. So Russia just going to be operating one sniper down. They still have Shadowburn. He still has a Dragon Strike.
Yeah, he's just going to hold on to it until he gets good vision. He's got a Sonic Arrow now, tosses it out.
Shots coming down.
Good
Neck
angle.
going to go low. Self-destruct going to be tossed into the air as they try to find the finish. Gets the kill there on his Shaz. Nappa's trying to make his way back into the suit. Will be able to do so, but the cart is now rolling up. They gain a lot of space off that plate as Russia. There's still 220 on the time bank here for them as they get ready to roll in, looking for that point C finish. Shadowburn pops over the top, Storm arrows out, just chunking out. The tank Zapper's going to get knocked out of the mech again. No self-destruct this time. They're trying to make his way back in, just going to have to do it naturally with that pilot
Linkser
pistol.
on the Tracer swap now.
Pile forward, Linkser has managed to find the hit there on a Shadowburn. They take him down. Dragon Strike ready from Taimu. Tosses that one in straight onto the cart. They try to shove them back out. Making his way into the mech. Will be able to do so successfully as Taimu gets cornered up onto the ceiling there. And he gets taken down. Shaz gonna be dead. There's no support. Big Goose swapping over to Lucio to try to buy some more time to get back in to keep his team alive, but it's not gonna happen. Push forward. Should just about be it. Big Goose by himself
That's
will
it.
get taken down. Yep. 0.18 meters left to go. Russia get the completion here on Dorado.
Controlling the high ground there with their snipers was critical, and then going into the point itself, I mean, there's so much to talk about, but I feel like the swap to Tracer for Linkser might have been a little bit too late, because I think that that's something that we could have seen really disrupt what Shadowburn was trying to do, because tank attempts to try to kill him, coming through from Fraggy, just came up empty because just storm arrowing into his face with the Discord Orb there. It becomes very difficult to utilize the comp that you're running when there seems to be somewhat of a disjointed effort to kill it, because you're both trying to dive the enemy snipers who have high ground advantage, who have line of sight advantage, but also then trying to keep your sniper alive. So it becomes kind of a question of like, what can Linkser accomplish when he has no protection, while also trying to snipe against higher ground, snipers. When he switched over to the Tracer, it was mostly there for that last-minute contest to try to do that extra damage. I think perhaps switching over earlier could have given him opportunities to get into the back line and kill the supports when the snipers were on high ground and the tanks were diving. But either way, we end up with a pretty solid time bank here for Russia. It was a very smooth push through B and C. And now they've got a great opportunity, now that they know they have this huge time bank, to just try to play very, very safely and conservatively here for point A with the Reinhardt Zarya.
Yeah, so 140, but the big thing is just going to be having the finish in general. Again, not trying to make a pun. Completion on the map, that's what I'm trying to say.
Last time you mentioned the pun, I had no idea what you mean, and now that you say it again, I'm like, oh, I get what you said.
Yeah.
I totally missed
So
that.
Finland here on the attack, need to go the distance, they need to get a completion on Dorado with some time in the bank if they want to close out this series, because it all comes down to this.
Double sniper mirror here again. Taimu is going to be our look here as he sneaks around the right side, getting some massive damage on the Tonic. Just wants to build the Dragon Strike. He's basically farming right now. If he could find a backline kill, that would be massive. But that's, not always what you get in this situation. Looks for the 1v1 here.
See how he'll fare compared to Linkser. So far, no shots coming down. Storm arrows in. Taimu takes a lot of damage. Falls low. 2 snipers v1. Who's going to win? Shadowburn tossing those arrows out as Taimu finally gets some healing coming down as Shaz offers up that Orb of Harmony.
Fraggy gets so much ult charge while Taimu's flanking because he's getting damage done to Tonic. So he's actually building up a faster Earth Shatter here, and the break on the shield here is massive. They get a kill.
That's going to be it. Yeah, Zappos finds the killing blow on the Tonic. Fraggy's still falling low, but they can keep this momentum moving forward. Shadowburn alleviates some pressure as Linkser's going to die. Mistakes gets a kill there onto the enemy Zarya, and Tonic is res back in. And just like that, Russia, they turn the momentum around, they push forward, they gain control of the card here in the underpass.
Fraggy lives with that charge away, and they're going to try to slowly reset here. They're going to be careful about being greedy, trying to grab ult charge here, because if they die, it's going to be a pretty big stagger against a team that's already got a great time bank. So the map there, the setup defensively, really good locations for Linkser and Taimu.
That's huge to get rid of Shadowburn. They have the combo online here with the Graviton Surge. They're gonna be looking for it. They toss it down. They lock up everybody. Dragon Strike will come through. Transcendent's gonna be out from Shaz. They try to keep everybody alive, and he will be able to do so. Tonic and Aang both gonna go down. Finland turning this ship around. Dragon Strike ground combo of their own comes up with 2. Bane's dead. Shaz finds a kill on the Shadowburn, and the cart will push forward. Finland A very nice start here. Great turnaround on that fight.
And you can tell by Russia's hero swaps here in the top, they know that this is going to be point A given. There's no way to contest. They'd rather just set up defensively here for high ground control in the sniper v sniper. Always a challenge for the attacking sniper to defeat that defensive setup, but Mistakes was on low ground. Linkser took a shot for it. He may have to use this infra site now. Yep, there it is. He's going to use it to try to get an angle here, probably on Hanzo now. Waiting for his best opportunity. This ends up being fairly wasted at the moment.
See if he wants to go for the pop over the top, but it has that diva there as well. Arrow's coming down, all right, puts himself forward, takes a bit of damage, and now he's got to worry about Mistakes around the backhand side. Attack in, dive onto the top. That's going to be the stop coming down. Fraggy finds the opening kill, and Shadowburn will fall. Rez comes out from Ming, however. So back into the mix. So no harm, no foul, basically. Just going to be some extra ult charge here for Fraggy for the most part, but now he's jumping in. He's looking for the Widowmaker, the pocket coming down, as well as the Orb of Harmony and on the Mistakes, and there's just no way that Fraggy can finish him off.
You know, that's actually a pretty good trade for Fraggy.
I mean, look at his charge.
Yeah, the Primal Rage
They
is...
swapped at the same time. He's 30% ahead.
Yeah, the Primal Rage is like way more significant than the Infra Sight.
Dragon
Sometimes
Strike
Infra Sight can win you a fight, but
yeah,
you know, let's be real, that was a trade up for Fraggy.
well, Primal Rage was used. Main goes down, Tonic as well. Going to be dead. Mistakes finds one shot for the res. Big Goose will bring the Widowmaker back. Finland making excellent time. Fantastic pace here on this push into the street's face.
They did, you know, what they needed to do. They needed to make sure that they could win the sniper battle. One more contest here.
Bubble's going to be used. Self-destruct nearly online. Taimu finds Mistakes again. Now it's going to be Aang going down. The Mercy v Mercy action. Big Goose is going to be coming out on top. Things are under some pressure here. Will be okay. Has the rest of his team here backing him up. Pops over to the top. It's onto that high ground. Tonic falls low, gets taken down, and Linkser immediately finds a shot there on the main, getting rid of that Zenyatta. They roll in, and now it's 4 minutes on the clock for Finland as they enter into the final stage of Dorado.
Yeah, just really doing the same sort of thing that Russia was doing just previously, and using it to great success, playing around Fraggy to gain control of high ground, hit those shots. Now we're going to see a very forward position here for Finland, so they could get this cart through. The most dangerous point here is where their opponents, like Shadowburn is right now, could get the high ground control away. So they get the cart around the corner before that can happen, but Linkser still doesn't have that high ground control. They're going to dive up to try to take that away.
And Dragon Strike thrown in, Taimu not finding much, an answering one coming down here from Shadowburn. A little bit of damage on the back end of that, but otherwise no kills. Linkser pushing forward, he's feeling saucy. He wants to go aggressive against this enemy Widow. Machine gun spray coming down, Mistakes. Getting a little bit of damage, but he's got that Orb of Harmony, but oh, Linkser just shoots right between Taimu's legs and gets rid of the Mercy. Now Main's gonna be dead. There's no supports here for Russia.
This should be a lot of free push here for Team Finland. Linkser not gonna stick his head up yet. He's gonna let Fraggy do the hard work against the Hanzo.
Oh, he goes in deep, but he can't make it out. Will get taken down, and Big Goose.
But they know they have a
does
res.
push forward. He does get the res. I thought maybe it'd be a bit too risky.
They're pushing this so much right now. Russia's going to really have to run out of the point here. There's the pick on the main. It's going to all have to be about Xiao buying time.
They're going to be looking at like about, a pretty big advantage here. About a minute up. Shadowburn comes around the side. However, he finds two. Linkser and Shaz both going to be going down as Russia tries to gain some control over the cart. Taimu going to be dead. Big Goose as well. Effective wipe coming through as Zappis is knocked out of the mech. So Russia have stabilized here for the moment. Finland 3.42 meters away, so close, but they have to get the finish.
Oh man, this is so painful
The
when Zappis
completion.
has to jump off, and now as Finland comes in here again, remember the scariest part I was talking about where you have to go around the corner here? This is Shadowburn and Mistakes' playground. They have the high ground. Linkser's going to have to make a big play here. He's going to have to flank around. They don't have Primal Rage, so Fraggy trying to go up on the high ground to take Shadowburn off of it is going to be risky because he's going to get hit by Storm Arrows, and he's not going to have a Primal Rage. Mistakes is actually going to make a swap here. He wants to flank and kill the supports when that dive I just mentioned comes through. This is it. This is his moment.
Up, Mistakes waiting. Comes in from behind, dashes forward, looking for the kills. Behind it, Chaz uses the Transcendence to keep them alive. 9 seconds here for Finland until they are tied with Russia, and after that, it's going to be operating at a loss.
Okay.
With a lesser time bank here. Shots coming down. Shadowburn nearly with another Dragon Strike. Looking for the hit. Fraggy falling low, but nearly has a Primal Rage available. Big Goose taking some shots off screen. Look at the passive regen coming through. And Zappis! He opens things up with two! Hank and Shadowburn both go down. Now there's no res into the mix. Shao makes it back into his own mech. Doesn't come up with anything with his self-destruct. Jazz falling low, trying to stay alive. Big Goose just trying to pocket it back up. Seems like he will be able to do so as Fraggy goes forward, gets rid of main. Finland Need to get on the card, they need to get this moving. So far, it's not. Mistakes also going to be going down. They're waiting for the Dragon Strike to expire. Now pushing forward. Would love to break Xiao out of that mech again. It looks like they will be able to do so. Eng's going to die. Tonic is dead as well. Finland moving forward. Can they get the completion here? Main's going to be dead. I think that could just about be it. Mistakes goes into the last second, but he gets shredded down. Finland will be able to get completion here on the map. They keep their hopes alive. It all comes down to these OT rounds.
Zepiz comes up big with another self-destruct seg, and he ends up massively setting his team up for success here. As we're going to take a look at something different here. It's just going to be the kill here to prevent this res onto Eng. Huge play here. That's the kind of thing you have to do. If you can actually make a big play like that in a tense moment, that guarantees you that you're winning the Widow War when you prevent a res like that. And very worth to dive in and make that happen, because you know you have no risk of being caught. The person who's going to kill you is the enemy Widow, who's laying on the ground trying to be res. So you can actually, if you communicate that moment, you could go and shut that down. But Zepiz gets the big double there at the end, prevents Shadowburn from controlling that zone. And Mistakes, I really like the Tracer swap. We talked about it in the previous attack to where Linkser eventually did swap over the Tracer. Mistakes swapped a little bit faster, but the protection on the supports was really good. And it actually felt like in some ways that self-destruct just kind of caused a huge disconnect across the entirety of the Russian defense, because their supports were no longer, kind of protected, I guess you could say, from the rest of the attack. Like we saw Fraggy come in and everybody started to fall. It was just desperate time buying at that point. Now that we go into overtime rounds, it's 1 minute to 1:48 here. Finland with a weaker time bank. They're going to have to, really, they're only going to have one shot at getting through this archway. If it fails, that's going to be the end of their run. Russia will have that extra push and that extra time to build those big grab combos as they approach in here. So Finland needs to come up with something big here. Linkser's going to flank to try to make that happen.
Einar took a lot of damage, manages to stay alive. Shield regen comes in. Finland already had that miracle run on Volskaya Industries to get the double cap. Can they do something similar here on Dorado? Linkser, he's looking to get that momentum running because he comes up with two, and Timo finds another. Tonic gonna be dead. Now it's gonna be Ang nearly the team wipe coming down, and they're gonna find it. It's just gonna be that Zenyatta, and he gets taken down on the end. Finland.
Insane.
Oh my goodness.
Insane plays here by Linkser. When he's coming in big tonight, he is coming in huge, and that's the kind of play you need, because now you have control of the cart. Your comp operates well on the cart, and you can just keep pushing it through. For Russia, Mistakes is going to have to control this high ground and get picks, but it's so difficult to crack what Finland has, and they're going to be very close to, of course, building those ultimates in those fights that come up next. Russia switches up their composition, but if Linkser comes up big again, takes Mistakes out, then he gets control of the high ground. He gets control of the high ground.
Yep.
What is Russia even going to do?
Another shot coming through. Oh, Linkser, he's feeling it, man. Constantly just getting
He's
those
sneaking.
headshots.
He has
those dinks
Sabersight.
coming down. He does. He's trying to spot him out. He's trying to get an angle here on the Mistakes.
Oh my God!
Finds the shot, takes it, but he's not going to be able to get the kill. It's just going to be the body hit, but he gets made instead. Trading it up. We'll be forcing out that res, you would think, but now Aang can't make his way over there because the Dragon Strike comes down. Tonic down to half HP. Heading around the van. Shot comes down. Mistakes is dead. Linkser is putting Finland on his back, carrying them forward. The card just keeps charging down the street. Shadowburn finally alleviates some pressure here. I don't know why I call him Shadowban, but we're not talking about Reddit here. Finally takes down Linkser.
Well, now
the rest is there. Big Goose puts him back in.
Yeah, he puts him back in, and they have control. So coming out here to contest B is going to be such a challenge for Russia. Tonic does not have Primal Rage.
Oh my goodness.
So this could be one of the greatest overtime pushes in Overwatch World Cup history. Mistakes is dead again.
Another one. Rez is coming down. Linkser operating inside the bank, looking for some more shots.
Hey, they grab
Timo
Shaz.
falling low, will get topped up as Shaz goes ahead and pops that Transcendence 2 meters away from the completion here onto B. Down onto the back, onto the low ground here as Tonic goes into the back line. Trying to disrupt them, trying to get the kill onto Shaz, and Mistakes won't be able to follow up and douse him. It's going to be the break onto the back there that even falls low, and they can't quite get it into the station. But good God, what a fantastic push here for Finland.
Huge. I mean, Linkser came up massive on the sniper there, was able to get several opening kills. The kills onto A, then leading into the snipe there onto main at the end, forcing Mistakes back. So Mistakes had to reposition to duel him, and even though it was, you know, when you pull 2 Widows away from the battle and they end up in that duel situation, which happens a lot actually in Western Overwatch, then yeah, sure, you've pulled 1 Widow away, but your Widow is also away. But because they didn't have a Zenyatta there, they were losing the fight while Mistakes had to reposition. And obviously, you know, the trade-ups were good there for Linkser. So during that moment with no Zenyatta, guess what that means? I mean, Shadow Burns, Storm Arrows aren't doing as much damage because there's no Discord Orb. And the arrows coming out from Taimu are doing so much more in that fight. So Finland gets a massive push here. And it wasn't about the Grav, it wasn't about the Earth Shatter, it was really just about Linkser. And he's come up so many times for them tonight in this best of series. But now for Russia, start with a bigger time bank. It's going to take another repeat performance for Shadowburn here. You know, just what Linkser did. He's going to have to repeat the same. Or, with those extra 48 seconds they had, they're going to have to look for some big combos here on the point.
Finland here. The final stage. Russia on the attack. 1:36 in the clock as they go ahead and start moving this cart up. Linkser absolutely phenomenal performance.
See if Shadowburn can do something similar.
Here? He's going to be trying.
Yep. Okay. Oh, gets a body.
Shot, but not going to be getting the kill. Goes for another one. There, the bullets going back and forth here, just whizzing past their ears.
You can feel the tension in the room as this is one of the deciding moments potentially here.
Onyx up front, he goes low. Not going to be finding the kill though. Onto that Reinhardt. Rez comes down. Zarya back into the mix. Mistakes pushing forward, finds Linkser, takes him out. Can they get the res? It's going to be the question. Mistakes takes a bit of damage, but Taimu comes out on top and sees the kill. Tonic from downtown, charges in, gets rid of the enemy Zarya. Shots coming in, Fraggy so very low. High energy Zarya pushing forward. Will be able to take him out as that barrier falls. Shadowburn finds the hit, follows up, gets rid of Taimu. Russia looking to get this cap here onto A. Big goose delays for just a little bit longer, but that will be the finish. Fraggy going to be swapping over to Winston as the composition swaps come through.
Okay, so Russia's still going to keep Shao with this Zarya, and Tonic's going to be on the Winston.
They need to eat that Graviton.
The Graviton is going to be huge here. If the grab goes off in a big fight or in a choke as they move around the corner, then that could actually just win Russia this map and win them this series. However, I think he wants to use it as soon as possible here and swap over to the D.Va himself. The grab, there's nothing really to follow up. Mistakes, I say that, Mistakes is about to have that Dragon Strike.
Go to the back here, Shadowburn. There's some pressure, grapples to the side. They're still chasing in the Dragon Strike. Pushing here. Across the cart as we enter into OT. Shadowburn manages to find Taimu. But Tao's gonna go down. Fraggy finds that hit. Transcendence is gonna be out from both sides as everyone just postures forward here onto the cart. Linkser finds Shadowburn. Taimu's runs back in. Finland trying to close this one out. Chess going low. The pocket coming down from the Mercy, keeping him alive. And now it's gonna be Tonic dead. Fraggy gonna be answered for. Mistakes finds Linkser, but Taimu answers back and gets rid of Mistakes.
They don't have much
back
left.
and forth. The cart's still going to be contested here from Russia, but they still have so far to go in this street's phase. And Taimu's playing forward, looking for those arrows. He gets another one. OT plummets down, and Finland have done it.
They have done it, and it was not an easy series. Very much back and forth, DPS duels across the board. Then an eye on the grab there at the end from Finland. The one big tool they had to set up a combo does not go off. Ashao holds onto the Zarya pick, but it does not work. And, you know, this was one of our tightest series. I know everyone's going to look back at South Korea versus Finland and say it went to game 5, this one did not, but I think that each and every game we had here was a nail-biter. We had really big plays from Linkser, especially. I feel like he was the one who came out on top, a lot of the time taking risks, but they paid off. Fraggy playing well on the Winston when Finland was pulled away from their comfort zone by Russia, which is exactly what the map picks were designed to do, the playstyle was designed to do. When Finland was pulled away from the Reinhardt Zarya, from the GOATS comp that they have played so well all throughout Incheon, they still were able to adapt. They still were able to come up big. And sometimes the DPS players, Linkser and Taimu, when you're put under that much pressure and you're not running that Zarya Reinhardt anymore, Linkser's not on his Zarya, you know, Taimu is forced to swap over sometimes to the Brigitte there in those uncomfortable situations. They still were able to make it work.
Absolutely insane. Back-to-back miracle pushes coming through from the Finnish squad. First on Volskaya, then on Dorado to close it out and get that victory. The first draw that we had, you know, of the event here. We haven't seen one in a while. I can't even think the last time we had a draw in World Cup, but I'm sure it happened at some point. But 2-1 Definitely not the scoreline you're going to be expecting to see on that post-match thread. But guys, let's go ahead and hear from the team.